about migration in Luxembourg. As our colleague already said that I'm a geographer, it might be a little bit different than what you are used to. So you can see a little bit of our new campus, Belleville. Or just hope that you haven't seen it, so maybe to show you where the university is newly located. So this is the faculty where at the moment architecture is sitting as long as this building has been finished. And this is the large building where the seminar rooms and the auditoriums are. So it's a €1 billion project, and all the other faculties will follow. So I will first of all tell you a little bit about what is migration from a geographical point of view. How do we define migration? It might be different from an ethnological point of view, as I heard you had already an ethnological presentation yesterday. It might be also different from architectural definitions and so on. So I will give you definition from the geographical point of view. Then I will tell you a little bit about migration in and to Europe, so which are the main developments, the main movements inside Europe and to Europe. So what are the main groups of migrants that are of interest in Europe? And then the last point is Luxembourg, which has a very special setting concerning migration. So first of all, in general, migration is a person is moving on a spatial change physically place. So it doesn't mean that you have to go beyond the border. You can do that from one part of a municipality to another part of a municipality. That already is defined in geography as migration. It can also be from northern Luxembourg to southern Luxembourg. That would also be kind of migration. But of course, international migration is that you are more interested in, and that is getting more and more also what in geography, if people are talking about migration, it wasn't like this 5 years ago. Then it was that half people were talking about internal migration and half of them were talking about international migration. But especially with the so-called long summer of refugees last year, we have changed this, and a lot of people are just talking about migration, but in fact they are talking about international migration. And there are some definitions also saying that you have to move for at least 12 months. So if you're moving only for 6 months due to doing a study semester somewhere, you're not a migrant. But if you're going there for an academic year, you might be a migrant. These are different definitions concerning of the people who are using it. So both is possible in geography. But normally we are talking about migration when it's about 12 months before it's mobility or it's tourism. So in geography, tourism and migration is very closely linked to each other. It's not only the tourism kind you think of consuming somewhere, spending your summer holidays for 3 weeks, but it can also be 8 months. Okay, well, so there are different types of settings when migration is happening. So there are migrants who are economic migrants, and then there are of course also social and political reasons why people are moving. And then people are sometimes reactive, so they're reacting on things that are changing. For example, the environment is changing, and people are forced due to the change of the environment, the increase of the water line or problems with desertification. Or they are reactive, maybe it's like if they're a slave, but they can't decide themselves, or displaced people, they also can't decide themselves. Other people are deciding that these people are now displaced. But then there are of course also things like family reunification, where people decide to do that, or after retirement, a lot of people are migrating from the northern European countries to the southern European countries especially. And you can also see that some are more economic reasons, like guest workers, so people are going somewhere because they're labor migrants, they want to work somewhere for a kind of time. And we also have, of course, not only the legal ones, but also the illegal. But what is illegal? Is it the status of the visa? Is it the status of the working contract? So the word illegal is a problematic word, say. But of course, these people are somewhere not seen on the official documents of the state. Okay, then we have also different levels that geographers are looking at. So we are looking at the macro level, so what is going on the global or international level? What are the main migration flows? Then on the meso level, so we are focusing on we're looking at the national or regional level, and we are also looking on the local level, for example, on households, neighborhoods, the special actors who are working in these local settings. And geographers also take into account that there's the migration from country A to country B. What is the effect of country B where the people are going to? What are the effects of country A? Or maybe country C as well, because sometimes people are on a transition, so they're just moving to B, knowing that they will go to C. So what are the different impacts on the different countries, but also regions and local settings? And what are the reasons for the economic framework, the social context, the political framework, and the demographic context? So sometimes people are forced because there are so many people living in a place that they don't find labor, and they go somewhere where there aren't so many people living. Or there are so few people living that even that's a reason why they don't find a new job any longer. So they have to move somewhere where more people are, where more jobs are available, and so on. And the social context, of course, people, especially for religious purposes or for family reunification purposes, people are moving. Then the political framework, well, some people are not allowed to move. They don't have a visa to move to this. So the political framework is always not only the setting, if it's a place where there's peace, but also if the people are possible allowed to move there. So these are the different settings. And there are some countries who are really welcoming people. So like during the last year, you could see that there were some countries who were really welcoming the refugees. So a lot of refugees went there because they felt welcome, but others were not welcoming them. Or like in Spain, for example, a lot of municipalities would have welcomed the refugees, but the national government is not in a very good shape. You might have heard also yesterday in the news that there is still no government possible. So there was no law that allows this kind of movement. Even though the municipality already has the reception facilities prepared for refugees, there was no national legal framework to welcome the refugees coming from Syria. So that's also reasons where people are going and why people are moving from. And then, well, you might hardly see this as well, but we have like different kinds of subsystems of European migration. So from outside Europe, you might see just there's Europe, but inside Europe you have very different kind of subsystems. Who is coming? Why are the people coming? How many people are coming? So you have, especially in the southern countries, where you have a long history of emigration, so people are leaving these countries for a very long tradition. And maybe since the last 10, 15 years this has changed. These countries suddenly became countries of immigration due to refugees coming from Northern Africa or also the Arab countries. So a society that is used of losing people going somewhere, suddenly receiving people. So this has a huge impact on society because they completely have to redefine themselves how to react in this situation. So this is like the southern countries. Then we have like the UK, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, It's a very long tradition of colonization, and due to this colonization processes, they are very good connected to some countries, to their former colonies. So there's a large kind of migration between the former colonies and the mother country. So these are having a huge amount of migrants, and they're very used to have migrants, they're very used to integrate them in some perspectives, or to at least deal with this variety of people. Then we have northern European countries. We have less than 1% normally before last year. Last year it has changed, but before that we had less than 1% of the population, for example, of Finland and Norway, were third country nationals. So a lot coming from EU countries. Even Norway is not a EU country. The tradition is still that there are people moving from EU because they do not need any visa or any special requirements. And then we have a lot of people coming from Balkan states during the Balkan Wars. These countries were welcoming them especially. And then we have like this, let's say, Central European, so Germany, Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Austria. They have a long, but after Second World War tradition at least, of guest workers. So especially in the 60s and 70s, a lot of people coming from as guest workers. This was a concept that people should come for 11 months and then go home, and that other people would come for 11 months and go home. So there was not the idea to integrate these people because they would go home after 11 months, because they only got the first step, this kind of 11-month routine. So there was no need to somehow, in the political thinking, to integrate them because they would go home. But the people do not behave maybe as politicians think, so the people stayed. So we have like a huge amount of people coming from Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, former Yugoslavia, and also some Maghreb countries in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. It's a little bit different in Luxembourg, where we have especially people coming from Portugal and some coming from Italy. This is due to the case that Luxembourg had a law that said that only, a guest worker had to be Roman Catholic. If he's not Roman Catholic, he's not allowed to be a guest worker. So this already reduced that the people from Turkey, for example, which is the largest group in Germany, would not come to Luxembourg. It reduced that none of the Maghreb countries would come to Luxembourg. This law is no longer existing because Luxembourg is an EU country and this would be against EU legislation, but it formed the kind of process. So by now 25% of the population are Portugal nationals, and it's about 35% of the people having Portuguese traditions, roots, even though they might not have the citizenship anymore. But this changed while Switzerland and Austria and Germany had this kind of much more mixture of people. And then we have the Eastern European countries. We had, especially in the former socialist time, we had some kind of movement between them, but very few movements. And now they are especially kind of transition countries. People coming there hoping to get more Western, or they are also losing a lot of population. For example, Lithuania and Latvia lost 1/3 of their population. And then we have not only the European internal migration, but there's also this kind of inflows which came especially renowned last year, but it started already a couple of years earlier, but it wasn't really recognized by a lot of people because it stopped in Greece or it stopped in Italy especially. So they already had for a couple of years huge refugee inflows, but they stopped there, so the other European countries didn't really recognize this. And you can see they came from all kinds of African countries, they come from the Arabian countries, and they have different routes. Well, they used to have this route on the West Balkan last year, and this summer already as the Western Balkan route is stopped, they use now the Mediterranean route, which is much more dangerous. People already died much more than any other year before. Yeah, and then you can also see, well, the positive decisions on asylum application, which is also an impact on if you go there, because you think you might be welcome and you might be approved and not rejected. So, well, the highest asylum seeker rates were in Sweden, until they stopped also last year and they closed the border to protect themselves against further inflows. Well, then also Switzerland was quite positive, but they have a little bit different position because it's not a new country, and Germany was also very good, and Austria in approving. And you might remember that then they cut down the borders to stop further flows. So even though these are the highest numbers, we could see things like this until April this year. So this is Idumeni. It's also kind of setting, and this kind of city it was more or less. More than 10,000 people lived in this tents. Every day new people arrive, and you can see here this is the border between Greece is here, and this is Macedonia. And they wanted to go through Macedonia then on the Western Balkan route to Austria, Germany, or whatever. But they were stopped there until end of April when this camp was then destroyed by the Greek government. But this is also something that is coming due to migration, that suddenly new kinds of non-permanent cities appear, and you had kind of school settings where the people try to informal educate their children. You had kind of crashes, kindergartens there, and all these things. You had a kind of hospital for all the doctors or nurses who were on this camp, try to organize themselves, because even UNHCR was not in there after a while. They left, and they just left these people to organize themselves. Okay. And then, now coming to Luxembourg, as I said, Luxembourg is a special setting because they had this law saying that only people with this special confession were allowed to come. While in the 1960s and 1970s especially, it was the steel and mining industry that were searching for workers. And then Luxembourg changed the financial sector, they changed the banking sector and the service sector. They also improved the European institutions, so there were a lot more institutions, and then we suddenly had this booming of Luxembourg when the economy just raised, and they needed more people than they had themselves already living there, so they pulled people inside the country, and you can see people with Luxembourgish nationality is the green one, people with foreign nationality is the blue one, and the total population is the red one. And you can see really since 2000 the population raised quite a lot, so a lot of people moved into Luxembourg, more than households were available, and you can see also that the proportion between Luxembourgish and foreigners changed, so the difference between the both are nearly equal, so it's nearly 50% of the inhabitants are of non-Luxembourgish citizenship. That does not mean these people have not migratory roots. So it's about 75% of the population of Luxembourg has migratory roots. So they themselves migrate to Luxembourg or their parents moved to Luxembourg, which is quite challenging for a country small as Luxembourg to have such a huge amount of people not coming from the country itself. And you can see that it's also not distributed equally throughout the country. So this is Luxembourg City, where you have more than 60% of the population has still not the Luxembourgish citizenship, and the citizen villages around. Then you have some hot spots around where you had, for example, well, either there are larger municipalities, or they are, for example, attracting especially because they have good connections to the city center of Luxembourg City, or they have special institutions which, or for example, a special manufacturer or whatever that really gets people there. So you have also different kinds of foreigners living in the different settings. You can show the next one. And you can also see that between 2001 and 2011, there are some which are staying more or less the same, but most of them increased up to. It's not really, but I think it's better to see there, isn't it? You can't see a singer. 30%. Okay, so at least as far as I remember, 30% that this city increased of the foreign population. And then you can see, for example, in 1971, this is already the time when the guest workers started. So it's not before the guest workers. So it's not in the time when there were nearly nobody from other countries, because this time doesn't exist at all in Luxembourg. Luxembourg is somewhere at the border between Germany and France, and always there was this shift between these countries. And already in the late 19th, early 20th century, there were people coming from Italy to Luxembourg. So there is always a very international kind of population living here, but not compared to what we have now. Because you can see here, for example, you had at least 39% of the municipalities had below 10%, and there were also some municipalities without any foreigners living there in 1971. And you had only like 1% of municipalities had 30 to 39%. And this has completely changed. There is no municipality left without any foreigners. There's only 4% left with below 19%. But we have 4% with about 50% foreigners. So it's a huge change of the population, it's a huge change of the society with huge impacts on every sector of life. Every aspect of life is completely changed due to this. The education sector, you have in a class with 15 pupils, you have 15 different nationalities where you have to see how to work with this. You have the different languages in Luxembourg, and they are also different between the different sectors. So in some sectors you should rather speak German, in others you should rather speak French, or you should rather speak English if you're working in the financial sector. So it's a very mixture and a very international setting, and it's very different from municipality to municipality, from institution to organization or whatever people are working in, and also education. Then we have this different kind of service sectors where you have the different, each service sector is more or less in the hand of one kind of nationality. But to say it's still the European who are not only the Portuguese but also the French and Germans and Belgians who are the top 5 of the citizens. So we do not have that many third nationals, but only 4% of the population are coming from non-EU countries. So it's still completely different to a lot of other countries around Luxembourg. And you can see this is only Luxembourg City, but you can see also that we have very high percentage here. We have, for example, in Gare, we have more than 80% of the population in Gare are not Luxembourg citizens. And, the lowest is 47%, so it's still not really low. And then we can also see here the increase of foreigners between 2000 and 2014. You can see, well, we had an increase of more than 100% in a lot of these different parts of Luxembourg City. But also it differs. It differs, for example, of house pricing. It differs on the availability of households, the availability of new built houses. And also, for example, these are very popular because here is the Kirchberg. The Kirchberg is a place where the EU institutions are. So a lot of people working for EU institutions trying to live somewhere close or in the better parts. So especially these parts also increased. And then we have, for example, the different groups. You can see, for example, whether people with Luxembourg nationality live and people with Portuguese nationality live. You can see that there are some quarters where you have really high spots of Portuguese living and kind of high spots for Luxembourg, and then you have somewhere, the rest is a little bit in between these two spots. Okay, so, yeah.